Nate Olson from Scorebook Live, SB Live, is joining us, part of the Sports Illustrated Network. It is SB Live, right, Nate? And we're not going to go the scorebook direction anymore. I got to get these things right. Can't hear him, though. Yeah. There we go.
SB Live, and then high school and SI. The SI network's a good way to put it. Absolutely. We, as we talked about before, we provide the high school coverage for Sports Illustrated SI, so accurate on all accounts.
Very good. All right, so I guess we should start where Matt and I were doing last Thursday's show, which was in Mountain Home. I know the Bombers were expected to pick up a win against arch rival Harrison, and they pulled it off, too. How'd they do it, Nate?
Well, it's their second straight win in the series. There's a lot of good rivalries that, we know about some of the obvious ones, the Salt Bowl and Bentonville, Fayetteville, Springdale, Fayetteville was an old good one, but this is a good historic one. And Steve Airy is maybe one of the better football coaches that you haven't heard of. In Mountain Home, they obviously have heard of him, but around the state, Hall of Fame Missouri coach came to Mountain Home, and what they do very well right now are win a lot of these non-conference games and, games that they should win. And, that's how you build a program because that wasn't always being done before he got there. So winning some of these non-conference games against 5A schools and then winning playoff games. They've won several first-round playoff games. The next step is to be more of a player in the conference and to make a deeper run. But it's steps, it's building blocks. But Friday night, very jubilant, and they had a good performance by their quarterback, Brantley Phillips. He got him going right off the bat on a short run, and had a couple of touchdown passes too, I believe. They were up 14-0 right off the bat, and were able to hold on to win that game 30-14. Good rivalry win for them. It just it gives you more momentum going in. They play Rolla this week coming up. Rolla, Missouri, going 3-0 in the non-conference would be great for them, and they just know that they play in a very tough conference. With Greenwood in that 6A West, it's gotten tougher with Shiloh Christian, and you got to take it week by week. You're going to take some lumps, but they've done a good job of taking care of business in non-conference and then winning some games in the league that they need to, and then getting in the playoffs. And another good win for them on Friday night.
Tell me about Conway blowing out Bentonville. Is this indicative of the kind of season Bentonville's about to have? Conway as good as they appear?
Those are all good questions and things that came to my mind when I saw those scores. Well, of course, there's a lot of season left, and, we have seen these games before. This is the fourth straight win for Conway in the series, but we have seen these early season games, and then we come back around. Bentonville got much better as the year went on last year, and this is a young team, so an inexperienced team rather, maybe not as young, but some guys that are juniors and seniors that are still trying to fill in. A good sign for them last week was going to Union over in Tulsa. I think On3 had them ranked 13th in the country, Union, and Bentonville fell behind, got back in the game, put it into overtime, lost in overtime. So you saw that score, some of the highlights, you think, okay, they're going to come over to Conway and really give Conway a game. And it was a little bit, I wanted to see how Grayson Wilson's going to do against a 7A defense. And the answer was he was brilliant. He threw for 328 yards, 4 touchdowns, he had 1 pick, 19-26. So in 3 starts now, benefit game, a non-conference game against Jonesboro, and now this game, he's been really, really good. You kind of wondered moving from 4A to 7A, how's it going to be? So he played a 5A team in the benefit in Morrilton, a 6A team in Jonesboro. Now he's played a legitimate team in Bentonville. But I'm not giving up on Bentonville. And, Jody Grant's a great coach. They got a little bit out of hand. but I think, they play them again later. It could be much closer. I still like that game in October with Fayetteville to be for the conference championship, and everything that they want is in front of them. I was talking earlier on our podcast today that these games are great. These in-class non-conference games, because it's kind of like when Michigan plays Texas and some of these big clashes in college football. You see these heavyweight teams playing each other. Carlisle played Junction City in the 2A ranks. That's big. We covered that game this week on the site. And so I like it that coaches will play. Buck James made a comment about that you could play lesser teams. He has a lot of respect for Bentonville that they'll agree to play this, and it's good for both teams. I think it makes you better in your league. Nobody got a playoff bid on Friday night. Nobody's season ended. It's good competition, and you take it. If you win it, you're happy. If you lose it, you take it with a grain of salt, and you go back to the tape and you watch what you need to do to get better. And as the conference season is looming in a couple weeks, but I think the biggest takeaway on this whole game for Conway and for Razorback fans is that Grayson Wilson looks really good. And I just kind of wondered about moving from 4A to 7A. That doesn't mean he's not going to have a game where he throws 2 or 3 picks. He plays Bryan at the end of the year. That's going to be a huge test, but he's got the whole season to get acclimated before they play that game. So hurdle number 1 for Grayson Wilson, he jumped over it well.
Hey, Nate, we had a game on Saturday with Arkansas and Oklahoma State, 2 dynamite running backs, Jaquindon Jackson and Ollie Gordon. Who's the best running back right now in the state? Is it the kid out of Little Rock Christian? Is it the kid out of Bryant? Is there an SEC running back in the state this year?
There's some good ones. Daniel Anderson out of Bryant is a Notre Dame commit.
Oh, nice.
The problem with him is that I still don't know that he's 100% healthy. He missed a lot of last season. He ran with more explosion on Friday night, and they picked up a huge win over Christian Brothers College in St. Louis. 5.5 hours on a bus, and then stormed out to a 21-0 lead, led 28-0 in the second, and I think he had a couple touchdowns. So they saw something in him after his sophomore year at camp. And then a couple other schools, Tennessee and others, offered, but not a lot of on-field resume for him. Trying to get that this year, and Notre Dame, I think they feel committed to him. But when I've seen him so far this year, still looking for a little bit of that explosion. Bryant's got 3 good running backs, and a guy named Myron Thrash that's going to OBU. The first couple weeks of the season, maybe running with a little more purpose than Daniel. I think Daniel's kind of getting in the groove. You've got Montario Elston at Little Rock Parkview and Cam Settles. And Cam's going to Arkansas. Elston so far is kind of, taking the ball and run with it figuratively. No pun intended, literally and figuratively. He's had good games back-to-back weeks now, and he can line up in the slot. He can line up in the backfield. He's going to Kansas State. So, yeah, there's maybe not a Braylon Russell this year, but there's some good running backs. And Settles, I think, is going to be good for Arkansas. The thing I like about him is he really wants to be a Hog. And you know firsthand, you wanted to do that. You played with a bunch of guys with Houston Nutt that cared about that. He wants this program to be better. He's going to have some good games here in high school. There's a lot of guys that can carry that ball for Parkview, and not enough balls for everybody. So it's kind of like, on a basketball game, you got a couple of different guys that can shoot it. You go with whoever's got the hot hand. And Elston has been that guy the first 2 weeks. But people are going to kind of target him. That's going to open it up for Settles. Quentin Murphy, their quarterback, had a big night throwing the ball against Maumelle, too. And Quentin is going to Arkansas. He is going to be an athlete there, probably a receiver or defensive back, return man guy, but a lot of talent on that Parkview ball club.
Hey, Nate, tell me about Connor Lentz. Seemed like he ran all over Ozark as Boonville wins 31-14. How good is Connor Lentz?
He's a good player. He's subbing in or not subbing in, but he's taken over for Dax Goff, who he went on to Harding and was a super player. But yeah, Lentz is good. You know, at Boonville, they plug guys in that offense, that run oriented offense, and they always have a decent line, sometimes undersized, and a quarterback that can manage the game. Jace Washburn is even a little more than the game manager this year. And then, you know, Lentz, like you said, he's getting the lion's share of the carries. And they do dominate that series with Ozark, but I thought that might be a closer game. And because Ozark's got Kobe Wilbanks, who's a fantastic quarterback that's played receiver. We've talked about him before, but the series is 56-27 and 4 in favor of Boonville. So they've kind of owned that series, and they win again. And they are a really good football team. You kind of wondered, after losing Goff and some other players, you know, how good they're going to be. But they look like a state championship team again. And we kind of thought that, but seeing the first couple weeks of the season, beating Poto, who's a power in Oklahoma, winning this game handily, it's a good day, good time to be a Boonville Bearcat. I mean, that's always they're good, but definitely have another shot to win it again.
Nate, last thing, give me one game that's on your radar this weekend. If you're going to go to one game, what's it going to be? Oh,
it's going to be Bryant at Parkview, and I'm going to it. If you're talking about around the state, you know, this is a game that people have circled on both sides since last year. Bryant irritated that they lost their 54-game winning streak, and kind of irritated that a lot of people poked fun at them for losing to a 5A program. This is not your normal 5A school, and but they took a lot of heat for it, and they were able to get to the semifinals under Quad standards. They want to win this game. They want to win a state championship, and they played really good last week in Missouri. If they play like that again, they have the personnel and the depth to play with Parkview. But Parkview has got at least 7 Division I players. The speed I just talked about on offense, those ball carriers. It's imperative that Bryant contains Murphy, makes him pass the ball, even though he did throw for over 200 yards. But and keep him in the pocket because he's very dangerous. If you're in the Central Arkansas area and you're not a fan of either of these teams, it would be a good night for you to go to a game. It's going to be good weather. It's going to be a War Memorial Stadium. You're going to see athletes all over the field. This is going to be a big-time Arkansas high school football game, and there isn't anything at stake other than bragging rights and the number one ranking. You know, and Bryant would like to have that back. They had that for several years, and now Parkview is the high school and SI number one ranked team. I think there's a lot of things that the Bryant kids, you know, want and from this game. And I think it bugged them to lose, even though it didn't affect. It still had a chance to play for a state title. They went to the semifinals. I think this game is sat in their craw for a while. So, and Parkview'd like to win 2 in a row, and they want to leave no doubt that they're the best team in the state. And they're hearing a lot of talk in Greenwood about Greenwood people think they could beat them. So they want to send a message to everybody by beating Bryant that they're a legit number one team.
Nate, we'll leave it there. Always appreciate you hopping on with us. Enjoy the football on Friday, and we'll visit again in a week.
Yeah, look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Nate.
Nate Olson, SB Live, part of the SI Network.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.